Good afternoon, Hokie fans, and with the song in the background, we must be having somebody associated here with Virginia Tech basketball or Virginia Tech football, and we are honored here on episode 15 here in season 3 of Sports Talk with Rags. We are joined by Hokie alum Bimbo Coles. Bimbo, how you doing this afternoon?
I'm great, Mark. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm down here in sunny Florida right now, working a little bit, but enjoying the sun. But I really appreciate you having me on your show.
Oh, sure, no problem. I appreciate your time for coming on, and let's start here at the beginning. I mean, they're in high school. You played football, basketball, baseball. What set your mind that when you were going to pursue a sport in college, it was going to be basketball?
Uh, wow. When I was going through that, it was actually a tough process because, people may think of me as a basketball player, but I'm really more of a competitor than I am a basketball player, an athlete that's a highly competitive person. So, you know, every year people would be like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And I just was enjoying the moment, whatever it was, if it was basketball, football, baseball, or even I ran track as well. Whatever sport I was doing, I loved it. But really, my I know this is gonna sound kind of crazy, but the final decision came down to I was just finishing baseball,
Yeah.
and I kept thinking, man, I like to have my summers off. I don't want to be playing baseball like all summer. So basketball was we were indoors in the winter, and why not play basketball? So that was sort of some of my decision, but I was the winter time was, it was for basketball, and I wanted to play basketball. And then during the spring and summer, I wanted to be doing other things besides just playing basketball when I was in high school and college.
Right, right. And with leading to play college basketball there and having a great career as a Hokie, and Virginia Tech was part of the Metro Conference back then. What led you to be a student athlete there for Virginia Tech there in Blacksburg?
Uh, I could tell you a story. So here's was one of my factors and everything was I was from Lewisburg, West Virginia. Went to West Virginia University on my first recruiting trip. I had 4 more lined up. Virginia Tech was the next week. Then I was going to Michigan, UCLA, then and coming back and going to Maryland. Went there first, had a great visit, met with Don Nealon, football coach, because I was actually looking at 2 sports, playing football and basketball at the time. Met with Gail Catliff, and they kind of both agreed to let me play, football and basketball. But on my visit with Gail Catliff on Sunday, as I was leaving, he was like, "Listen, sign this letter of intent today." And I was like, "I'm not really ready to sign the letter of intent today." So he was like, "Well, if you don't sign this letter of intent today, then I may not have a scholarship for you later on." And I was like, "Wow, here I am. I'm basically the best athlete in the state of West Virginia, and you're not going to have a scholarship for me." Okay, so I was like, "No, sir, I'm good."
Right.
Next weekend, I went to Virginia Tech. Bobby Stevens was the guy that was recruiting me, and he was like pretty much relentless. I would see him at track meets, I would see him at basketball, I would see him at football, I would see him at baseball. I used to see him everywhere.
Right.
And I went there for my visit. Saturday, they were playing Memphis State. Memphis State was the number 1 team in the country at the time.
Right.
Virginia Tech beat them. The fans stayed in the Coliseum probably for 2 hours after the game and just was cheering like crazy. Dale Carey, Keith Colbert, Beecher, and Al Young, and I think even Perry Young. That group of guys that was just really, really good. I had an opportunity to watch them play. And I was like, man, I want to be a part of this. Not
Right.
only that, just the people were terrific.
Right.
So that Monday morning, I ended up signing with Virginia Tech, and I think it was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, with Virginia Tech being part of the Metro Conference, I mean, you were a 3-time first team Metro Conference team player, and you set school record for career points and career assists. Just a great career there wearing the Hokie uniform.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. We did have some issues my freshman year. Um, Charlie Moyer ended up resigning. Frankie Allen got the job. I think at my sophomore year, I was really considered playing football. A couple of my buddies from West Virginia were on the football team, and they were like, "Dude, you need to come out and play football. You'll start at safety."
Right.
And I really considered it. Had a conversation with Frankie Allen. He was like, "Listen, don't play football. Uh, I'll give you the green light to shoot it whenever you want." And so that was my decision. And we went out, we competed hard, we played extremely hard every night. I did get an opportunity to shoot the ball when I wanted to. But we were highly competitive, and I just enjoyed playing in the Castle Coliseum. Fans were terrific. Pretty much every game was sold out, and the Metro tournament was a tough tournament. So you got to really compete pretty much every night in the Metro against somebody that was, NBA caliber players. So it was a lot of fun.
Right. And what we talked about a little bit before we started the episode, I mean, while you were at Virginia Tech, you know, you got an opportunity to try out for Team USA and play for and make the team and play for John Thompson there in the '88 Olympics.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes you think when it's all about being at the right place at the right time. We had an opportunity to play Georgetown my sophomore year. I think it was a neutral site in Hampton, Virginia. I think even,
Okay.
and we beat them. I played extremely well. I can remember after the game shaking Coach Thompson's hand, and he was like, "Young man, you'll be hearing from me again soon." I, at the time, I had no idea what that meant.
Right.
Um, and then, not far from them, I got that invite, for the Olympic trials, which was out in Colorado Springs.
Right.
And from there, it was just, you know, people were always asking me, "Were you nervous? What did you do?" I was like, "Man, I got to compete every single day
Right.
um, at a very high level, and I was getting a hoop." So for me, it was just going out and competing every day, and that's all I was doing is competing and having a blast.
Right.
And I was just so competitive that I really stuck out in Coach Thompson's mind. I really didn't care who you were. There were so many big names there, but that doesn't mean nothing to me. Once we stepped on the hardwood, it was all about getting after it.
Right.
And I end up making the team. Unfortunately for us, we didn't win the gold that year, but we did come back with the bronze. And at that time, I was very happy with the bronze. I didn't even really understand what. I was just like, we won a bronze medal, and
Right.
everybody was like upset because we didn't win a gold. And I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" But so, when I was going through that, I actually didn't understand the magnitude of the Olympics and what it really, really meant until, later on. So you look back now and you look, gee, many crickets, that was like a huge accomplishment. But on the other end of it, it was like we were the last amateurs to
Right.
play in the Olympics because we lost to the Russians. And after that, they sent, I think it was the '92 Olympics, they sent the dream team. So
Right.
but what an experience to look back on, and it was a lot of hard work, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, some of the players, Mitch Richmond, and with living in the Tidewater area, J.R. Reed is from Virginia Beach, David Robinson, Danny Manning. I mean, so definitely, that's just some of your teammates there for Team USA.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they were great teammates. We had a lot of fun playing. We happened to have one bad game, but all of them names that you mentioned, they all went on and had successful NBA careers. Very, very good players. Very good, very good people.
Yeah.
Like J.R. Reed, I'm still good friends with J.R. Reed. Still speak to him quite often. Maybe through Facebook or Messenger every now and then. Uh, so um, we'll you always have them friendships, especially from them type of people.
Yes, and I had Coach Pry on earlier, and it's just interesting that he talked about being a graduate assistant there in the mid '90s, but and other people that have played college sports or went on to go play professional, definitely networking, the relationships is definitely the key because you're not going to be able to play one specific sport all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And I just think networking is extremely important, especially for our student athletes. I spoke with Whit Babcock and Bud Foster down here in Naples last week. And one of the things that I touched upon was that, we have 1% of our student athletes that are going to professional sports.
Right.
That's 1%. So we have 99% of our student athletes that are going in corporate America or wherever they're going. But that 99% that we're putting out there, it's a very, very good 99%, but because Virginia Tech is doing an excellent job preparing these young men and women for, the real world. And I really think that's exciting. And I think it's, top notch from Virginia Tech.
Yes, and after your time at Virginia Tech, then you were drafted second round, 40th overall pick by the Kings, but then traded to Miami, and you started your NBA career there in the Sunshine State. And as Miami started at 88, so they were still a fairly new NBA franchise there in the early 90s.
Yeah, we were. We were. I mean, the franchise was new, and we were a young team. I mean, at one point, I think when we made our first playoffs was in '92. I think we were all 25 years old and younger.
Wow.
But when being in Miami and then being able to play basketball, I mean, what a great combination. The weather was great all the time, and it's a great city. But the Miami Heat, it's a great organization. They take care of their players from top to bottom. So I was very fortunate to come to an organization that was top notch. They do it right, and I got to learn. I moved on through my career, but I learned a lot with my experiences with the Miami Heat, especially the last time in my career.
Right, right, yes, and midway through your NBA career, you played for the Atlanta Hawks and Lenny Wilkins. I mean, I grew up in a military family, and we started out there in the late '70s, living in Seattle, and Lenny Wilkins there was a supersonic back in that day.
Yeah, I've gotten to play with some interesting coaches over my time. You see them come and go. Sometimes they hire them, they fire them. You get traded, you move on, you sign as a free agent. So, but I did get to be underneath Lenny Wilkins for a year in Atlanta, and it was also a great experience. What a great guy, what a great coach. Unfortunately for me, I caught him, I think, at the end of his career. And, he was ready to get into more commentating than he was coaching. But, just what a great, great ambassador to the game of basketball, because he not only was he a great coach, he was a great person off the court.
Right, and then you went to Cleveland, Boston, and then like you just talked about a second ago, you finished out your NBA career there with a second tour of Miami, and you guys second place there in the Atlantic Division, and that was pretty much the time when the Miami Heat was laying the foundation to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a big time when Pat Riley was the president, and we had great coaching staff, great video. When I think about it, that's when Coach Spo was on the sideline or in the back, and as the video room was assistant coach. It was back in them days. The thing about it was I was fortunate to come in on the back end of an organization that really took me under their wing and taught me a lot and brought me on through my early part of my career. When I got traded from there, Pat Riley told me, he's like, never burn bridges. And I took that as don't say anything bad about a team if they trade you or whatever, because you never know when your paths will cross again. So, they signed me for a year. Could have had 2 more years. I sat in Pat Riley's office, and he was just kind of like, we can sign you for two more years, or you can go into coaching. So I was just very fortunate. I was under Stan Van Gundy for a year, and then under Pat Riley as a coach for a year. So I coached from '04 to '06, and we won the championship in 2006. So I really, really got to experience that excitement. And man, there's so much knowledge that I pulled from that, not just from that experience basketball, but just everyday life.
Right. And so what was that experience here with you had 2 tours as a player for the Miami Heat, but then to be part of the coaching staff and then to win a championship there as you were one of the assistant coaches.
Well, just going through the championship time was just special. It's one of the reasons you play the game is to get to that point and to win the ring. A lot of the fans think, well, these guys just out there for the money. No, it's not like that. We play for one thing only. And of course, the money is also great, especially nowadays. But, but you play for that championship. That's what and to be able to experience that was just was, the icing on the cake. But that lifestyle and that much work really wasn't for me. I enjoy coaching. I love basketball. I love, but I'd rather be in high school than in the NBA or college, because I just don't enjoy the travel and being away so much time. But just that experience, being able to coach and learn from the best, I think, not only as a coach, but also when you get up to like the presidents and the things that he's done for the organization, Pat Riley, that is,
Yeah, right, right.
um, when he was talking, I was listening.
Right,
So I tried to pick up everything I could from him.
right. Yes, and 2000, you got honored there, Virginia Tech, to go into the Hall of Fame, and also when people go to Castle, your jersey is retired. So just talk about your collegiate career and being recognized there as one of the best Hokie basketball players.
It's terrific. It's terrific. When I showed up at Virginia Tech back in '86, and we called it NUF, which is our dormitory. All the athletes' dormitories at that time was NUF. When I was checking in, the guy couldn't find my name, and I was like, "Yo, dude, are you looking at Bimbo Coles on the basketball?" And he was like, "No, I'm looking for Bimbo Coles on the cross country." So here I am walking to Virginia. I'm going into Virginia Tech, and nobody even knows who I am.
Right.
So, so just all of my experiences really there. I wouldn't change anything. It was just great 4 years there. I've had a great 4 years in the NBA. So, I spent almost a year doing the Olympics. Got to coach. So, but my Virginia Tech ties they just go deep. That was 4 years that kind of shaped my career, shaped me as a human being and a person. I went through some things my freshman year, and if it wasn't for Virginia Tech, then who knows where I would have been. So just amazing experiences there, and I'm just so grateful for them opportunities.
Yes, and how about last year? They now part of the ACC since like 2004, but last year everything clicked there, and ACC tournament time, and for Virginia Tech to cut down the nets at an ACC tournament. That was just awesome to see.
Absolutely. One thing, everybody was excited, not just Hokies, but people around the country.
Right.
You got Virginia Tech Hokies in your mouth, and it's something that you're talking about that's really, really good. But just to see them guys go out and compete, it just brought everybody up. I think the whole state of Virginia, maybe even the Wahoo fans was excited. Maybe not, but maybe.
Well, and the thing is, I mean, Kenny Brooks on the women's side. I remember when he led JMU's women's program here with living in the Norfolk area, and James Madison and Old Dominion. CAA, they're back being Sunbelt competitors, but Kenny Brooks there since he's been leading the Lady Hokies. I mean, and he's having success there on the women's side.
He's done an awesome job. I mean, I had an opportunity. I think it was a couple years ago to watch his practice. And, his practice. He had a few dudes in there. I think a whole practice squad of guys that practice with him every day, and just to watch them girls go in there and compete and get after it. The girls' game has changed so much since back in the day when I was in college, and these girls can play. And Coach Brooks done an awesome job, preparing them and getting them in the right focus and the way they go out. I mean, they shoot the ball very efficiently from the three. They got the big girl inside, and then they get after it on defense. So he's done a fabulous job with the girls program.
Right now, do you see the Hokies whenever basketball, football, whenever they come to play Miami, or do you make it up to a game at Blacksburg?
I get up to a few football games during the summer. I was up for the UVA basketball game
Okay.
at home this year,
Yeah.
and I was in actually that Thursday night before. I was at the girls basketball game against Syracuse.
Okay.
So I was in town for them games, and what a joy to be able to go watch. I think I was telling Whit Babcock, the AD there, that I hadn't been into a girls basketball game since I left school. I
Oh,
mean, that was actually my first one, so it was a lot of fun. And I'm just kind of like, man, I need to get my girls and take them back so they can watch the girls play basketball, because it was a lot of fun. Them girls can play. I mean, they do everything. Like I said, the girls' game has definitely changed quite a bit.
right. Yes, and Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, the last time the induction was in downtown Portsmouth, there in 2017, you went in, but not only did you go in, but you went in with another junior high friend of mine, Dre Bly, who's also been on a previous episode.
Yeah. That it's always great to get into Hall of Fames, which has been an awesome thing. Just starting out, you never thought that you would get an opportunity. I never thought about ever being in the Hall of Fame. Matter of fact, didn't even think about being in the Virginia Tech Hall of Fame, and they were calling me talking about, hey, you're getting inducted in the Hall of Fame, and I'm just kind of like, what? And and then getting in the Virginia Hall of Fame, what another special honor to be inducted into that Hall of Fame with such an awesome list of former athletes. I mean, goodness grief, you don't really understand the magnitude of the athletes that have been either in college or grew up and played in the state of Virginia.
Right.
Quite a few of them.
Right. Yes, and Bimbo here. You got the ACC women's tournament that started today. The men got a nice road win against Louisville last night, and they close out their home schedule against Florida State this weekend. So we're right here on the heels, both currently with the women, and then men come next week of conference tournament, and then what they call March Madness.
Yeah, it's special time of the year, isn't it? It starts off with the girls and it goes for I guess the whole month or however long it goes. But it's a special time of the year. Our girls go into a tournament. I think they're very confident, and I'm very confident. And after watching them play live, I think they have a great chance to win the tournament. With our men, I just think we're in a similar situation that we were in last year. Nobody thinks that we're going to win it.
Right.
Nobody but us.
Right. Right.
So we might as well go ahead and do the same thing. I think they're more than capable.
Right.
It's just all about putting 40 minutes of basketball out there. But I think we're pretty solid on all phases of the game. So we're looking good. We got both teams have a great opportunity to win the tournament and then move on, advance in the NCAA's.
Yes. Well, hey, Bimbo, thanks again for your time. Any last minute words here for any of that aspiring high school athlete that's looking to play at the next level, or maybe a person that's starting a sport in college, and a little, any final last minute here to the athlete of today?
Well, I just think you just got to continue to work hard. Any student athlete, you gotta take it to another level with your work ethic, your preparation. But I think even today, the student athletes, the demands on them are a little bit more than what they were when I was there. So I think as a student athlete, the ball stops at some point. It does. It really does. So, when you're that age, you don't think it's going to stop, but it does. So make sure that you prepare for when the basketball stops bouncing, or the football, the baseball, the volleyball, whatever it is, it's going to stop bouncing. So make sure you prepare it for life after that.
Right. Yes. Well, hey, Bimbo Coles, appreciate your time for coming in, for coming on here, sharing your story there. Recruiting process to your career at Virginia Tech, Team USA, NBA, and enjoy that Florida sun.
Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it. And go Hokies.
Yes, go Hokies, and that's a wrap here for today's episode.